Hello everyone, so welcome back to our video. In the previous video, we talked about the problem that we solve using flowcharts and pseudocodes. So in this video, we will try to use C++ and we will explain it to you.
Hey guys, in this number one problem, I will tell you how the C++ program works on this number one. First, we must to type hashtag include and iostream in these branches, and then we type using namespace std. Why we should type this? Because it will simplicity our C++ program, so we don't have to type std in every order. So we must type main2 with these branches and curly branch, and we use the data type integer to input number one, number two, and then we add the output to number so the user know what should they do, and then input number one, number two. And this is the decision. If number one larger than number two, we print or out the largest integer is. And then the larger integer is number one. And else, if number one not larger than number two, we print or out the largest integer is number two. And then we type return zero so we know there's no error and close the program with curly branch.
So now we will try to run the program. And then in here, let's just say the user input number 3 and number 5. And then we see number 5 is the largest integer. So this program works. And then let's try another number. What if we change? The first one is larger one and the second one is the last one. So the output will still be 5. And then we conclude that this program works perfectly.
Flawless. Yay!
Flawless. Okay, now we will continue to discuss the C++ for question number 2. So, as Kyla mentioned before, we use this two. We always type this one and then we use this one so that we don't have to write it down in every order. Okay, so now we get into the main program and then we use integer data types uh, as a and b, and then we print, or in C++ language we use cout, input to numbers. This is the word that we want to put or show to the user, and then those number will be in A and B. That's why we put C in, because we receive uh, add two numbers. And then, so in this one, we can see that there is a percent sign. In C++ language, we use this sign or this percent sign as mark for the modulo. So we read it if a modulo 2 equals to 1, and then we continue to the next part. So if b modulo 2 equals to 1, and then we continue again if a larger than b, it will give the output is A. But else it will give output is B. And then this else is for this if. So that means if B modulo 2 is not equal to 1, it will print A. And then this else is for this if. That means if A modulo 2 is not equal to 1, it will run this process. If B modulo 2 equal to 1, it will print the largest odd integer number as B, and then else Cout will be largest odd integer number is 0, and then we use return 0. And now Kyla will explain the program.
So this program of the number 2 have same like number 1. The difference is the number 2 output is the odd number, not the all of number. So if the user input two number, there is 1 and 4, the output will be 1 because 1 is the odd number. And let's try another number. What if we input the first number is 4 and the second number is 1? Is the second number will be the output? And yeah, the program output is 1 because 1 is the largest odd numbers. Okay, I will explain the number 3 problem. So first, we must type include stream using namespace std and integer main. And then input, we use number 1, number 2, and number 3 with the integer data type. So this program, we must type cout input first number and we input cin number 1 as the first number. So the difference of the sign from cout and cin is from the design. Design is for cout and design for cin. It's like someone talk to you and you talk to someone. We use this always ya. It cannot be gantikan, nggak bisa digantikan. And then if we have this decision, if number 1 larger than number 2, we ask again if number 1 larger than number 3, see out or print largest number is number 1. If number 1 not larger than number 3, we print largest number is number 3. And if number 1 not larger than number 2, we have a decision x is number 2 larger than number 3. If yes, we print largest numbers is number 2. And if number 2 not larger than number 3, we print largest number is number 3. And then return 0 and close with curly branch. So the programs run will explain by Virginia.
Okay, so now I will run the program using the real numbers. First, let's just start with number 2. And then our second number is number 3, and then our third number is number 4. So the program supposed to give us output the number 4. So we check, and then we have our largest number. Let's try with another number. Let's try with 4 first, and then 3 second, and then 2 last. Okay, the 4 is still the largest one. Let's just go up and have more number. Let's just say we input the number 100. and then the second number is 45, and then the third number is 767. So the
67.
largest number is 767. Okay, that's all from the C++ number 3. Let's continue to C++ number 4. Okay, now we will continue to problem number 4. As the previous one, we always write this one, this two, and then this one. And then we use integer data types to give an initialization to n1 and 2 and 3 so the program knows that there are those numbers. And then we also use integer data types to put or store the 0 to max. So that means later we will use this max to run the program. First of all, we ask the user to input the numbers. So this one is says input three numbers and then the numbers will be in here. So why is this in here? Before it was not in here. So we can write it like this also. So we just have to write C out and then print this one, and then after that we close it with a semicolon, and then if we don't to write it, write the C in below the C out, we can just write it besides the C out, and then we continue to the main program. So if n1 as the previous percent is modulo, if n1 modulo 2 equals to 1, that means the max number is the n1. And then we close this if, and then we make another if n2 modulo 2 equals to 1, and then we have that another decision if n2 larger than max, we print that means the max is n2. So what does this means? In this first one, we know that n1 is the first number. That's why we only store the n1 straight to the max. But in here, we have to double check if the number 2 is odd number, we have to check again. Is it larger than the previous max, which is the number 1 before? If yes, then the max will change to n2, but if not, it will go to this if n3 modulo 2 equals to 1, and then it asks again, if n3 larger than max, the n3 will be stored to max. So that's why the max will change later. That's C out, largest odd integer will be the max. And then we return 0 to detect any problem or any error. And then we close the program with a semicolon. Kayla will run the program.
So I will test the program works. So this program output will be the largest odd integer. So what if we input number 5, 2, and 7? The output must be or supposed to be 7. And what if we input no odd number? We input 2, 4, and 6. The output will supposed to be 0. The output supposed to be 0 because at beginning of this program, we initialize max as 0. Let's we try another number. if we input number 1, 2, and 6, the output must be 1. Okay, this program is word flawless. So we continue to program number 5. Here, as always, we type include iostream using namespace std integer main. We use data types integer for this program. We input x, y, and initialize zeros is the max, 0 is to the counter, and say out input number and say in or input the x. So this program use do while method. So if the y is less than 0, we'll do print input number and we'll ask the user to input y or another number. And if y less than 0, it will ask the user again, input another number. Why the program asks the user to input another number? Because this program will ignore the negative number or number less than 0. And then after this while end, the program will ask if the counter less than x. And if y larger than max, we process the y to max and then process the counter plus 1 and store it to counter. And the output is the largest integer.
Okay, so now I will try to give this program real numbers. Uh, let's just choose the first number that we want to choose is 5. That means we can input 5 other numbers besides the negative number. Let's try the first number is 2, and then the second one is 100, and then the third one is minus 5. Will the program ask us to input another number? So yes, so we're supposed to put another number. Let's just choose 80. That's still four numbers, oh, three numbers, right? And then 65 and then 90. It is supposed to stop in here. Okay, the largest integer is 100. It is right. Okay, so now we will continue to question number 6. As we know, this first three is the same as the previous program we has discussed about. And then we initialize the sum odd, sum, and this means counter with integer data types. Oh, why we use integer? It is because this all will later be stored with integer number. Okay. And then we initialize the x and y also with integer data types. And we print. As we know, cout means print something. We print input a number, and then that number we store to this cin, or this means that we have an input name x. And then while counter is less or equal to x, the program will print enter another number, and then that number will be in this cin means there are a number that has been input. And then if y modulo 2 is not equal to 0, and then we have if in here, if y modulo 2 is not equal to 0. This exclamation mark means not equal to 0. We plus the sum odd with 1. This means plus 1. And then this one we read it as sum plus y. We store it to sum. Okay, so and then we close this if, and then we plus the counter with 1. After all that happened, after this part has complete, we print the sum of odd number, also the number of odd number. Kyla will explain the Kyla will running the program.
So the program works is the output of this program will be sum of the number and the number of the odd number. Example, we input number 5. So we have to input 5 number again. The first number is 20, second number is 30, third number is 15, fourth number is 20, and the fifth number is 100. So the output is 1 and 15. Why? Because the odd number is only 1. That is the 15. Okay, we continue to next number. There is a number 7, the important number. Why this number important? Because we have three output. The output is max, sum, and min, and then minimum. Oh, the sum not the output. I'm sorry. So we type include iostream using namespace std and integer main. So we use integer data type for the x, max, min, sum, and counter. But we use float data type for main because main result have a big change to a decimal number. So if you use integer, the decimal can be shown or cannot read by the program. So we ask the user to enter a number and input the number we call as x. While the x is larger or equal to 0, the program have a decision is the counter equal to 0. And then we store max and min to x. Else, if x larger than max, we store x to max. If x less than min, we store x to min and close the branch. We close this with the curly bracket. And after this if ended, we sum plus x and store it to the sum, and the counter is plus by 1. And then the output is entered a number. Why we should enter a number again? Because this program will end if the user input number less than 0 or negative number. So if the user insert the negative number, the program will uh, run to decision is counter is larger than 0. If yes, the program will process the sum divided by the counter. So this main will have a float data type because the output of the main will be integer number. And if the counter not larger than 0, the max, min, and min will have value 0. And then we print all the data, max, min, and min, and returns to 0. So there's no error in this program.
Okay, so now mm, we again check the program if it's working or not, as we know that this program supposed to give us output of the largest number, the smallest number, and the median of the numbers that we input, but not include the negative one. So let's try it with the real numbers. Let's just give input 3, 5, 6, 34, 60, and then minus 2. So the program will stop because it sees a minus, and then it will detect that the largest number is 30, is 60, I'm sorry, and then the smallest number is 3, the first one, and then the median is 21.6. So let's put another number. Let's put something that we can count easily. 10, 20, and then we put minus 1. Okay, so the max is 20, yes, and then the min is 10, yes, and then the median is 15. So we know from the median is we have to plus this all for first, and then this all will become 60, and then 60 will be divided by 4 because there are 4 numbers, and then 60 divided by 4 is 15. So this program works. Okay, so now we are on the eighth number. As we know from the previous one, we always write this down, and then we get into the main program. Um, so this program is supposed to ask the user to give input of positive integer, and then later the program will give output as how many, oh, not how many, I'm sorry, as what are the factors of that number. And then I will explain the program we use. This is X. We use integer data types, and then we store this one to factors. We also use integer data types, and then this we ask the user, and just like the previous one, while factors is less and equal to the X, it will run this program. So you might be confused about this program. Let's just pretend that we have 5 in here. So let's say if 5 modulo factors, which is 1 equals to 0, if yes, then it will print the factors. So it is true that 5 modulo 1 is equals to 0. That means the number 1 will be printed later. And then the factor will be plus by 1. And then it will always increase as long as the factors is less or equal to 5. When it equals to 5, it will never go up again because the while part will stop, and then we close this with return 0 to detect any error, and then we close it with this branches to close the main part.
Okay, this program number 8 run or works. If we input some number, the output is the factor. So example, you input or the user input number 11. The factor will be 1 and 11. And we input another number, we input number 60. The output will be much like that because 60 is have a many factor is from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30, and 60. So guys, we'll continue the program number 9. We type hashtag include iStream using namespace std, and with the main program use the data type integer. The integer data type is using for the x and of and the counter. NOF is number of factor. So the user have to input the positive integer and input the number. The program, the main program, while counter is less than or equal to x, the program will ask, is the x modulo counter is equal to 0? If yes, the number of factor will plus by 1. And if not, the counter is still plus by the counter is still plus by 1. And then the output is number factor of the number that the user input and the number of factor. And then we type return 0. The output of this program is will be 2 if the X user input is 5 because 5 have two factor. There is 1 and 5. So the total of the factor is 2 from the X number.
Let's just check this program. Okay, Kyla has explained it very well, so I don't have anything to explain again. So let's just put the number. Uh, it is we asked to enter positive integer. As a kind user, I want to put 10 first. And then number of factors of 10 is 4. Is it true, Kyla?
Yeah, 10
Another.
have
Okay.
4 factor. There is 1, 2, 5, and the 10 number itself.
Okay, so that means that these programs works perfectly. We will continue to question number 10 or the last one.
Yay!
Okay, so now I will explain the last question. Um, because we already know this three part, we continue to this integer data types as x, and then we store 2 to y with integer data types. Also, we store 0 to d as with integer data types. Just a quick reminder that this 2 is to give limitation that there is no prime number less than 2. And then we will use this 0 stored to d to compare is it selected as not prime or as prime. Okay, and then we ask the user always to input number, and then we use decision if x is equal or e- if x is less or equal to 1, then d, we store d plus 1 to d, and then we close this decision, and then while y is still less than x, we run this program. If x modulo y equal to 0, then we plus the d with 1 and store it to d. After that happen, we plus the y and store it to the y. And then if d is all is already larger than 0, that means that number is not prime. But if it's still 0, that means that number is prime. And then we close these branches to this else, and then we return 0 to detect any error, and then we close our main program.
So we input the small number first. If we input number 70, the output will be prime because 70 is prime number. Prime number is the number who can divide it by two factor. The first factor is number 1 and the number itself, the 70. Why number 1 can be prime number? So let's we try the program. The output number 1 will not prime, same as like Virginia mentioned before, because the smallest prime number is start by 2. So the third number we input is the bigger. What if we input 100? The output will be not prime because 100 uh, can cannot divide it by two factor, the number 1 and itself.
Okay, so that means we has just finished the exercise from number 1 to number 10. What time is it now, Kayla?
Yay!
Okay,
Okay.
so we has finished the flowcharts, pseudocodes, and also the C++
C++. plus plus.
version. Okay,
Okay. See you guys. Don't forget to
see you
like and
guys.
comment. Bye bye.
Bye bye.